You feel it. The recovery that takes longer than it used to, the mornings that don't fully clear, the energy that runs out before the day does. You've been told that's aging. That's what getting older feels like. It's not. Right now, inside your body, there are cells that should be dead. They didn't die. They stopped working. But they're still there, sitting in your tissues, releasing chemicals that slowly damage everything around them. Scientists call them senescent cells. Most researchers just call them zombie cells. By the time you're 50, billions of them have already accumulated. Your immune system used to clear them automatically. It doesn't anymore. Not fast enough. What happens after that is what most people call just getting older. The research says otherwise. Every cell in your body has a lifespan. When a cell gets damaged, by stress, by environmental exposure, by simple wear, it's supposed to self-destruct in a clean, controlled process called apoptosis. That's the design. But sometimes the process fails. Instead of dying, the cell enters a kind of frozen state. It stops dividing. It stops functioning. But it doesn't leave. It just stays. And while it stays, it secretes a toxic cocktail of inflammatory proteins, cytokines, proteases, growth factors, that researchers call the senescence-associated secretory phenotype, SASP. This signal does three things. First, it creates chronic low-grade inflammation in the surrounding tissue, the kind that doesn't feel like pain. It feels like fatigue, brain fog, slow recovery, the things you've been calling stress. Second, it spreads. Senescent cells can push neighboring healthy cells into senescence too, like a slow infection with no fever. Third, it accumulates. Because your immune system, specifically cells called natural killer cells, gradually loses its ability to clear senescent tissue as you age. By your 60s, the burden can be significant. This is not a fringe theory. This is what the research shows. And what it also shows is that when you remove these cells, outcomes change. In a landmark study at the Mayo Clinic, researchers selectively cleared senescent cells from aging subjects. Physical function improved. Inflammation markers dropped. The subjects showed measurable extensions in healthy lifespan. Not just total lifespan, but the period of active, functional life. Then the research moved to humans. In the first clinical trial of its kind, researchers measured senescent cell burden in human tissue before and after treatment with compounds specifically designed to eliminate zombie cells. Senolytics. The result was the first direct human evidence that senescent cell load can be reduced in living tissue. Not in a lab dish, not in an animal model, in people. The field now has a name, senolytics, and it is one of the fastest-growing areas in longevity research today. So what are the compounds getting serious attention? The first is quercetin, a flavonoid found in plants, studied extensively for its ability to selectively trigger apoptosis in senescent cells. In other words, it finishes what the immune system started but couldn't complete. It tells the zombie cell, it's time to go. The second is fisetin, structurally similar to quercetin, found naturally in strawberries and showing strong results in preclinical longevity research. Mayo Clinic researchers identified it as one of the most potent natural senolytics tested to date. The third piece is NAD+. Here's the part most people miss. Senescent cells accumulate partly because cellular repair slows down, and cellular repair slows down because NAD+ levels decline with age. When cells can't fix damage efficiently, more of them enter senescence instead of completing normal apoptosis. Supporting NAD+ levels isn't just about having more energy during the day. It addresses one of the upstream reasons zombie cells accumulate in the first place. Think about that for a second. These three mechanisms, clearing existing senescent cells, blocking the spread, and supporting the cellular repair system that prevents new ones, are what serious longevity research is now focused on. Not anti-wrinkle creams, not calorie restriction alone. The challenge is that most people don't know whether their body is actually getting the support it needs, or where to even start. You're not imagining the fatigue. You're not imagining the slower recovery. You're not imagining that something shifted. Something did. The question is whether you do anything about it, or whether you spend the next decade blaming stress. The science on senescent cells is being studied at Mayo Clinic, at Harvard, at the Buck Institute for Research on Aging. The results keep pointing in the same direction. Your body already has the machinery to fight this. It just needs the right inputs. There's a free cellular assessment in the description. It takes about 2 minutes, and it maps your biology to exactly the kind of research we talked about today. Worth understanding where you actually stand before doing anything else. If this kind of research matters to you, subscribe. Because most people are still calling this just getting older. It doesn't have to be.